Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the PowerTalk Show powered by Business Talks Weekly. Our guest today has been in the IT and digital transformation space for the past 25 years. She is now shaping a new era of digital leadership grounded in wisdom, values, and shared purpose. Please welcome the founder of Digital Wisdom Collective, Barbara Wittmann. Barbara, welcome to the PowerTalk Show.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Barbara, I want to start the conversation by understanding a bit about your professional journey and what really inspired you to build Digital Wisdom Collective.
Yeah. So for 25 years, I've had a picture perfect IT career, if you will. And I got known for fixing broken transformation projects. So I started with standard consulting, and then I had a knack for bringing people together and moderating very tricky situations. And that got me the questionable reputation that I can be put into projects when no one else wants to have it. So I spent the better part of my career going in when everyone thought projects were dead or they were too complex. And, I really enjoyed and loved doing that because it is a hero journey, right? It's like, yay, I can come out and I can say, I did it. No one believed. But what I saw was always the same pattern. And the pattern was that technology was never the issue. It was always a people issue. It was either a stakeholder alignment or simply everyone being at odds, silos being really heavy, or, a layer of many, many things that you slowly had to uncover as you were going along. But what I found is that the answers to the issue were always within the organization. So the people that were in the trenches working the project and really executing on it, they all had the answers, but no one listened to them because the company always hired in fancy consultants because the given belief is that, oh my God, they're going to do magic. So I basically gave people in the organization a voice and we fixed it jointly and they finally saw where their talents lied. But when I stepped out and when it was all fixed, they kind of slipped back into their old world and into their old role. And I was like, well, I don't like seeing that. And I really want to empower not just leaders, but also organizations to do transformation sustainably. Because technology is here to stay, right? It's part of our DNA, regardless of what industry you're in. So that's what got me to starting the Digital Wisdom Collective, to really educate and train leaders to up their game, to have a better stance in the company, in their leadership, and to find their voice. And through that, for companies to have a sustainable transformation journey and also to leverage the technology they have. And the effects have been pretty profound because if you give people a voice in the middle of the organization, you save about 20% of your consulting spend, which adds up to be pretty hefty. So every dollar you invest into my program, you save 5.
It's very interesting stats, and thank you so much for sharing that story and journey with us, Barbara. So, when you say about program, what exactly do you do in these programs? If you can tell us few pointers for our audience, like what kind of a benefit they see post when they enroll into the program.
So we've developed a framework that offers a holistic transformation. And the core of the framework is what we call human infrastructure, because you have a ton of technology infrastructure. And we believe that the human layer that actually does the work, they need to be treated and upgraded like any technology. So what I offer is a 6-month program to the middle leaders of the organization to not just upgrade what I call a circular mindset, to really get them into a space where they can innovate and where have the ability to look across boundaries within the organization. But also I give them a training ground and a safe space where they can try out these new skills. So what I found is if you are doing trainings within the organization, it is like an echo chamber because you really don't want to ask the questions you have. You don't want to look like you have blind spots. You want to look best towards your colleagues. So I curate groups and I bring them together, and we meet monthly to solve given issues in their transformation journeys. And it is a joint exercise. People learn to collaborate better, to really listen. I teach them a solution framework that is very simple, that trains them to not jump into conclusions too early, but to really understand the issue at hand. And then we also have sessions where we teach them best practice and things we see in the market. So it is not just an upgrade in knowledge, but it is first and foremost an upgrade of the person itself as a leader. And obviously it also involves a little bit of looking within and, cleaning up who you are, because that to me is the baseline for sustainable leadership.
That's very interesting. You have worked across so many leaders. What is the common challenge that you see that there is these leaders in the current industry face?
So what I see right now is that the IT department in organizations is very much trained up to the latest technologies, but who is lacking right now is the counterpart in the business realm, because they feel like they don't have anything to contribute. They feel a little bit like the imposter. I'm not a tech expert. What do I have to say here? And yet they are a very vital part of the solution because they work with things on a daily basis. So, they still are stuck in that belief that they don't know enough. And that is the biggest thing. And usually that's when you hire a consultant and you bring a consultant in. And, what the consultant usually does is they listen to everyone and they package it as their idea and they are the star. So you can have that for a lot less money, and you can have that within the organization and foster that people actually bring ideas to the table.
Absolutely. It always helps to have a third party view at how and look at things, right? So Barbara, you are an advocate of human factor into IT, but with AI and the agentic AI coming into play, how do you see how it affects the human factor of technology?
I think we need to learn how to co-create. The AI piece is just another person in the org chart going forward, and it will be just another coworker. But we need to learn how to play nice with the technology in a way. But to do that, we really need to know as humans what we are good at. Because if you don't know what your superpower is, you cannot leverage and fill in the gaps with your new AI buddy. So I think we really need to look at what our insecurities are and, get over it, literally, because it is here to stay. It is an amazing technology, but we also cannot think that we will have either or. A lot of companies I talk to, they're like, oh, this is great. We can save so much money. We can lay off a ton of people. And yes, some roles may be more prone to be replaced entirely, but for the entirety of your organization, the new superpower truly is to have a joint relationship between the AI agent and the people. But that being said, we really need to see what we are good at as humans, and we need to foster our senses that we may have neglected, the listening skills, the seeing the connections, the systems thinking, and also the ability to go into a room and be able to sense what's going on there. So we need to really step it up on the people skills big time. And if we don't do that, what happens is all the chatter that goes on in our head, and all the things that we believe, we're going to feed into an AI agent. And the AI agent is essentially going to have the same limits that we have. We don't want that.
Absolutely. You have been in the industry for the 25 years. How do you see a CTO back then and the new age AI founders and CTOs? What do you see is the most relevant comparison you can do between these two?
Wow, that is like an entirely different role at this point, because back then the IT person was more of keeping the engine room running and, greasing everything, and it was more of a basement situation. And now the CTO or the CIO, they are really stepping it up to being an integral and very central piece in every organization, because they are truly becoming the change architects. But that also means that they need to evolve in their role. And what I see now is that some of these people that have been in the job for a long time, they are very much stuck in the old world. And to move forward, you you really have to stretch in advance because every IT function needs a seat at the table. They are essentially controlling the DNA of the organization, and they also need to have a different caliber of leaders. It cannot just be the nerdy tech and geeky person anymore. It needs to be a leader that has emotional intelligence and brings that to the table.
Absolutely. That's what. So, how has your journey been so far from an employee to an founder and entrepreneur? What sort of changes have you seen in your life?
Well, I've been a founder for 20 years. So I grew up in Germany. So the first two companies I founded were based in Germany, and I had a software development company and also a consultancy that specialized in SAP and integrating bits and pieces. And then I met my husband, who's American, and I picked up and left and moved to the US because for me it was easier to uproot, and from there I switched more into a strategic role. So it's been an interesting journey. I really think the field of consulting is changing quite a bit, and especially with AI coming in, and also the qualities for a consultant are much different than they were. It's not a body that you place somewhere. And I mean, when I started consulting, they told me to just look busy. It doesn't matter if you have much to do, but just charge the hours, show up and look busy. That's not the case anymore. You have to know your stuff. You have to bring in specialized expertise, or, you have to come in a different capacity. So that is one piece that has changed. And the other piece that I think is more profound and that a lot of people who are founding a company are underestimating is that you constantly have to work on your own mindset. Because I dropped out of a very large IT company. I worked for SAP and then switched over and started my own business. And boy, was that a difference, because with the big three letters, you would always get an appointment. Everyone would always welcome you with open arms, and then it was me, right? So you really have to see, who you are and who you want to be. So the founder's journey is rough and bumpy, and if you do not have a strong foundation that is holding you in terms of values that ground you, and also a bigger vision that is worth thriving for, it will be rough because you have so many people out there that doubt you, that, think that you will never make it, that find your idea absolutely and utterly stupid. And you need to have a very true conviction of where you're going and also be able to reflect and course correct. I am of strong belief that a company can only grow so much as much I grow as a founder. So if I stick within my limitations, my company will go nowhere. So I constantly have to do the cleanup work because we all grow up with things in our society or in our families that are very subconscious, that are limiting beliefs, put in us that happen subconsciously. Being German, I was brought up to amount to something, you have to work really, really hard, and, blood, sweat, and tears, and it all needs to be earned, and it can never come easy, and all that stuff. And also, to be very humble, yeah, and, don't rock the boat, just be the nice girl. So everyone grew up with these things. If you do not look at that stuff, it will limit you growing.
That's very interesting take of you. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Barbara, what is your vision for the next 3-5 years? Where are you heading? What are you looking at?
So what I'm looking at with the Digital Wisdom Collective is that I really put a new paradigm of leadership and transformation in the world. And I really want to create a new category of things because I believe we have been looking at transformation and people development a whole wrong way. So that is my marching order. I want to make it easier for the generations of founders and leaders that are coming after me. And I want to share what I have picked up and learned in my 25-year journey. So essentially, what I'm doing here with the Digital Wisdom Collective is my legacy project.
All the best. Very good luck with that, Barbara. One final question to you. What is the one piece of advice that you got that changed your perspective professionally as well as personally?
Surround yourself with people that are better than you. And better than you meaning they have grown into different places. They are more successful because you become who you surround yourself with. So be very mindful of the circles you surround yourself with, the people you hang out, because they do rub off.
Thank you so much. That's very interesting. Thank you so much, Barbara, for joining us today on our podcast. It was a wonderful conversation.
Thanks for having me.